So let's talk about a really big idea today, this urgent need to master Python before 2026. What's the big deal about that specific year? And more importantly, what are the exact skills you should be focusing on right now to get ready? Let's jump right in and break it all down. All right, let's tackle the question that probably got you to click in the first place. Why 2026? I mean, a deadline for your career? That sounds pretty intense, doesn't it? Well, it's not about being dramatic. Let's unpack what's really going on and why that year is such a big deal. And that question leads us directly to our first big idea, what we're calling the 2026 tech tipping point. Okay, so 2026, this isn't some random number we just pulled out of a hat. You should think of it less like a hard, scary deadline and more like a focal point. See, based on how fast things are moving, it's the year when all these major technologies, like AI and massive automation, are set to go from being niche, specialized tools to being completely baked into how pretty much every business runs. Now, what's so wild about this is how all these trends are crashing into each other. We're not just talking about a future where AI is a cool little feature on your phone. No. We're talking about a world where it's the absolute core of business strategy, where big decisions are always backed by data, not just a gut feeling, and where automation is handling entire, complex workflows. This massive convergence, that's the why behind 2026. Okay, so if that's the future barreling towards us, how in the world do you get ready for it? Well, that brings us to our next section, which is all about the tool for the job, Python, the language of the future. And this right here is the absolute key to everything. Python isn't just another programming language you could learn. Not at all. It has become the central engine, the common thread that runs through every single one of those massive trends we just saw. It's the language that brings them to life. This quote just nails it. Lingua franca, it's a common language that lets different groups talk to each other. And that is exactly what Python is for the most important fields in tech today. If you want to work with data, if you want to build AI, you've got to speak Python, period. And this chart, wow, it shows you exactly where Python rules. Just look at that. You combine data science and AI, and that's a whopping 75% of what it's used for. Those are the very fields that are defining the future we're talking about. This isn't just a popular choice, it is the industry standard. So, hopefully you're on board. You see why 2026 is the tipping point and why Python is the key. But now for the real question, what do you actually need to learn? Let's get into the most practical part of this whole thing, the essential skills roadmap. We can really just boil this entire journey down into 3 clear, manageable steps. This isn't about getting overwhelmed, trying to learn a million things at once. It's about building your skills in a logical way. First, you lay a rock-solid foundation. Then, you master the professional tools. And finally, you get to explore the really exciting stuff at the frontier. Step 1 is the bedrock, the absolute non-negotiables. You can't build a skyscraper on a weak foundation, and you definitely can't build an AI model if you don't truly get the basics. This is more than just knowing syntax. It's about deeply understanding how things like data structures and loops work together. Seriously, do not rush this part. Okay, once that foundation is solid as a rock, you move on to the data toolkit. This is where you learn to use the powerful, pre-built libraries that make Python the absolute king of data. Think of these as your power tools. They let you take a giant, messy pile of raw data and quickly turn it into something clean and valuable. Now, 2 of the most critical tools in that box are NumPy and Pandas. NumPy is like the high-speed engine for anything involving numbers. It's crazy fast. Then, Pandas takes all that power and gives you something called a data frame, which is basically like a super smart spreadsheet that you can control with code. It's the #1 tool for cleaning and analyzing data. And finally, after you've got your data tools down, you get to the really fun part, the AI frontier. This is where you pull together everything you've learned, your core skills, your data skills, and you start to build models that can actually learn, predict, and make decisions on their own. Out on this frontier, you'll meet the big players. Scikit-learn is like your Swiss Army knife for a ton of standard machine learning jobs. But for the really complex, deep learning stuff, the kind of tech that powers ChatGPT, you're going to be using one of the 2 industry giants, TensorFlow or PyTorch. All right, so that's the roadmap. But let's be real. What's the destination? What's the point of all this? Let's connect all of this back to the ultimate goal, turning that code into an amazing career. This slide makes it crystal clear. This isn't just about learning for fun. These skills lead directly to jobs. I mean, look at this. Master your core Python and add pandas to the mix? You're on the direct path to becoming a data analyst. Level up with NumPy and scikit-learn? Now you're in the running for machine learning engineer roles. And if you go all the way with TensorFlow or PyTorch, you're positioning yourself as a top-tier AI specialist. There's a tangible goal for every level you hit. So the takeaway here is huge. We're not just talking about learning to code. We're talking about getting a very specific set of skills that act as your key, your golden ticket, really, to the most in-demand, most exciting, and most future-proof jobs for the next 10 years. Which brings us to our last, and honestly, our most important point. Your journey starts now. 2026 might seem like it's a ways off, but in terms of learning and actually building expertise, it is right around the corner. These changes are already happening. This isn't some far-off opportunity on the horizon, it is here, right now. And the absolute best time to start building these skills was yesterday. The second best time is today. So as we wrap this up, I just want to leave you with one final thought. The future isn't some passive thing that just happens to us. It is being actively built, right now, line by line, in code. The only question left is, are you ready to hold the pen?